Good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, April 19th. If you're absent today, you are missing our Introduction to Socratic seminar. And so I want to just run through it with you really quickly. And then I was hoping to have an actual video of a Socratic seminar so you could watch one. I'm not going to be able to do that today because technical issues, but I will have one in tomorrow's Schoology folder, I hope. I may not have it right away. I may take like either first period or third period and record them and put it in there. Regardless, at some point in time, I will have a practice seminar video so you can watch it. So when you come back, you're going to know exactly what we did, okay? So for today, let me just kind of run through it. So Socratic seminar is based on the teaching of Socrates. Socrates was an ancient Greek philosopher, and the way that he taught his students is he would ask an open-ended question, meaning there really is no right or wrong answer, and then he would just have his students sort of talk about it, debate it, and that's how they would learn things. So a Socratic seminar is anything that has the purpose is for a collective inquiry, meaning it's not individual, it's all inclusive, it's our entire class. It's an exchange of ideas. There is no right answer. So even after the seminar, I'm not going to say, okay, those of you guys that thought this, you were right. There literally is no right or wrong answer at the end. The goal is an enlarged, shared understanding of ideas, values, or issues through dialogue. So the ingredients of a Socratic seminar is, let me try and do this. I'm going to present on this device. Okay, so the ingredients of a Socratic seminar is, first of all, we have something that we use as text. It can be, like today, I'm using something really simple. The kids are using a summary of the story Jack and the Beanstalk. And I picked that because I know you guys read that one in the fairy tale unit for Mrs. Stork, and so you've got some previous knowledge, and then this was just a really quick summary. So on purpose, I picked that because there's some things, some details that got left out of the summary, and I wanted the kids to come and kind of use previous knowledge. So it can be something written like text, and then for the rest of the week, you guys are going to have text like articles that you're going to read and annotate. So that's text. But I could also use a picture, or I could use something that's recorded. I could use a video. I could use like a little clip. So anything that we're going to use as evidence. The two requirements are it has to be informative and it has to be unbiased, which means it can't just tell one side of the story. So if we were going to have some kind of a Socratic seminar on global warming, I can't give you a piece of evidence that would be like somebody saying, yes, we're experiencing global warming, because that would be biased. I would have to have something that would have both sides of the story on there. That would be unbiased. I also have a question. So after the kids read Jack and the Beanstalk and they annotate Jack and the Beanstalk, then I am going to ask an opening question, and it has no right or wrong answer. This question is meant to generate new questions and different responses. So it's just a jumping off spot, okay? It's an open-ended question that has no right or wrong answer. And then there has to be a leader. Now, for these first few Socratic seminar practices that we're going to do, I am going to be the leader. And so my responsibility is to ask the question. And I am not going to be a participant. I'm just sort of leading. But eventually, I would love to have the students be a leader and a participant. And then lastly, we have participants. And these are the students. Your responsibility is to study the text, listen actively, share your ideas, and question yourself and question others. So I've got 10 ground rules, things that you need to remember. Hang on. Mrs. Stork's phone's ringing. I'm going to talk over it. So the first ground rule is, if you can imagine, I've got the class set up, so I've got a group of tables in the middle, and I've got students that are sitting around that. They are called the inside circle. And then with the rest of the tables, they're kind of around in a kind of an oval shape around the inside circle. They're the outside circle. And so it's really important that you speak so everybody can hear you, because you may have your back to somebody. I also want you guys to speak without raising your hand. And this is something that's different. In school, you're always told to raise your hand before speaking. Don't blurt out. But for this, if it's going to be a conversation, you just have to talk naturally. And so you wouldn't raise your hand when you're having a conversation. That being said, though, let me go back to number 2. If you speak without raising your hand, you have to be careful that you don't interrupt somebody. Don't just blurt out answers. You have to be respectful, okay? Number 3, refer to the text. So it's not a conversation just about your opinions. You have to refer to the text. And then number 4, listen closely. Number 5, talk to each other, not to the leader. This is very, very hard, and it's something that I'm going to be correcting you guys while we're doing this training. Again, we have been programmed and conditioned. When you speak out loud in a class, typically everybody looks at the teacher to make sure that you're answering the question correctly or that you're being understood. And that's not what we're doing. I'm going to remind you gently to keep looking at each other, make eye contact with each other. Number 6, ask for clarification. So if you don't understand what somebody said, either you didn't hear them, so ask them to speak up, or maybe you're like, wait a second, is this what you're saying? So with Jack and the Beanstalk, are you saying that Jack was okay to go and steal because he needed it? So because he needed it, then it was okay to steal? So just ask for clarification. So if the person's point was not being made, they can clarify that for everybody. Number 7, invite and allow others to speak. So there are naturally people who are quiet and who have a hard time jumping in and talking during Socratic seminar. They're just naturally shy, or it's just hard for them to jump in. And then we have people who it's very easy for them to talk out loud in class, and you guys know who you are. So let's say I've got 3 people who are very confident and like to give their opinion, and those 3 people are in the inside circle, and I've got 2 people who are very shy in the inside circle. See, they'll never be able to get their point across. And it's important that everybody speaks during a Socratic seminar. So if you are doing a lot of talking, I may ask you to not speak and allow somebody else. And specifically, I want you to pay attention who hasn't talked and invite those people in. So let's say McKinley is in there, and I'll say, McKinley, I noticed you haven't said anything. What are your thoughts? Or I don't even have to say, I noticed that you haven't said anything. Just look at her and go, McKinley, what do you think about this? Or what are your thoughts? Number 8, consider all viewpoints and ideas. And this is really important. It's okay to change your mind. If you come into a Socratic seminar and you think one thing, and then after hearing other people give their points, if you're like, that makes a lot of sense to me, I agree with that, I'm going to change my mind. It's okay. And you can tell everybody, this is where I was at, but now after you guys gave me all of these reasons, or you use this text, you use this evidence, I kind of see where you're coming from. That's totally fine. Number 9, know that you are responsible for the quality of the seminar. So here's the thing. This whole week, you are going to have homework. Your homework is to finish your pink sheet, and I'll explain what that is in a second. And it's also to read and annotate an article for the next day's discussion, because you will not have time to read and annotate when you come to class. It has to be done. So if you don't do that, you're going to sit in the inner circle and not say anything. It's going to be a pretty bad Socratic seminar. So be very, very, make sure that you are prepared and that you know what you're doing and you're ready to go for Socratic seminar the next day. And then once you're there, participate. Make it a good Socratic seminar. Otherwise, we sit in silence, because I won't say anything. I need you guys to be the ones to lead the discussion. And then number 10, be respectful in all you say and do. All right. So this is how a Socratic seminar is set up. During the first opening question, I will ask a question based on the text. So today, the kids read this really quick summary of Jack and the Beanstalk, and I asked the question, and I gave them 1 minute to write a response on the back of their paper. And then they turned to their partner, and they shared their response with the partner. So the inside circle went to the outside circle, and they just, for 1 minute, shared their response. It kind of helps them hear out loud what they said and hear what somebody else said, and then start thinking about whether their ideas are supported or not supported. And anyway, it's a good thing to kind of hear what you're trying to say out loud. And then the inside circle is going to come back, and they follow the ground rules and respond to the opening question. So for 4 minutes today, because we just did a really quick one, they talked to each other and answered the question. And then while that is happening, the outside circle focuses on a person that they're observing, and they keep track of that person's contributions to the discussion. And it says here, fill out the observation sheet. I'm going to show you that in a second. And then once that 4 minutes for only the inside circle, once that 4 minutes is up, then I open it up to discussion for the outside circle. We only did that for like 1 minute because we needed to keep it moving. And so eventually everybody has an opportunity to answer that opening question. Everybody has a chance to be heard. And then we switch and we repeated the whole thing. The inside circle moved to the outside circle moved to the inside. I asked a new question, and we just did everything all over again. So this is the response sheet. It's a pink sheet, and I think it's in Schoology. If it's not, I forgot my laptop today, so I can't add anything onto Schoology unless I log onto another computer, which I will do that. I'll see if I can do that this afternoon. And make sure that there's an observation sheet so you can see it. But it's this sheet where it says what your name and your period, and then on the next line it says I'm observing. So I want to know the name of the person that you observed when you were sitting in the outside circle. So you guys that are absent today, you're not going to be able to do this one because I was hoping, again, to have a video for you so you could observe one person and then you can kind of practice, but obviously I'm not going to have you do that. So you're excused from the first Socratic seminar. But I'm going to try and have one in tomorrow. So if you're gone tomorrow, watch the video and I'll give you instructions, okay? The Socratic seminar topic today was Jack and the Beanstalk, and the opening question was Jack justified in killing the giant? So while the inside people started talking, the outside people had this observation form to fill out. So they focused on the person that they were observing during the seminar, and then each time the person they were observing demonstrated one of the behaviors that's listed there, they put a check in that box. And then eventually, I'm hoping that you guys will be able to share that with each other so that people will know. Sometimes we think that we talk more than we do, or sometimes we think we ask a question or invite somebody in and maybe you don't, or whatever. Anyway, each time a person talks or asks a question, maybe they referred to the text itself, maybe they made good eye contact while they were talking, or they shared information not related to the text. So the text that I gave them was the summary. What if I had some people refer to stories that you read in Mrs. Stork's class? So that's where that little X would go. And then if somebody continued to ask questions, then they're all the way done. So when at the end of the inside circle part, right before we switch, I gave the outside people a chance to share something positive that they observed their partner do or say, because this is what I want you to be able to share with that partner person. So I could look really quickly and go, okay, my person, let's say it was Damien. Damien asked 2 questions and he referred to the text twice. And it says down here, he that last box down there doesn't appear to be listening or paying attention. If somebody's spacing out and they continue to space out, every time I look at them, they're spaced out, I might have 4 check marks there. So then that's something that person may not realize that they're spacing out, or maybe they really are listening, but it appears because of their body language that they're not. So it's good information for somebody to have. Okay, so then we just went ahead in class and we took a second to practice. I'm going to fast forward through a lot of this. On the front, there's a score sheet that's to be filled out by me only, so you can forget that. And then on the back of the sheet, after we're done with the entire Socratic seminar, we've got this. Again, those of you who are absent today, you're not going to fill this out, so don't worry about it, but I want to explain it to you. So there is this 10 statements where you're going to score your performance in today's seminar. So a 4 means you did an excellent job. You went above and beyond. And a 1 means, I didn't do it at all, or I really, really need to improve. And so this is where I read the text closely. I marked the text, took notes in advance, or I completed the lab or answered all lab questions. Remember, this is a Socratic seminar that we're going to be using information in science from now on, but we're just doing some practice this week so you know what to do. So I've got the same kind of document for each one. Number 2, I came prepared with higher level questions. In other words, because I read and annotated the text, I already had some questions. I contributed several relevant comments, not just I agree, but I agree because. I cited number 4, I cited specific evidence or data from the text. I asked at least one thoughtful probing question, not just a what do you think question, but like a deeper question, like why do you think Jack stole in the first place? That would be a thoughtful probing question. Number 6, I questioned or asked someone to clarify their comment. Number 7, I built on another person's idea by restating, paraphrasing, or synthesizing, putting it all together. If I had 3 or 4 people that said that they thought Jack was not justified, then I might say, well, it sounds like everybody's saying he's not justified because, and I put it all together for everybody. That would be right there. Number 8, I invited blank to enter the conversation. So tell me the name of the person that you invited. Number 9, I treated all my participants with dignity and respect. And number 10, I met my goal for the Socratic seminar. The goal is a little bit down below. I'll show you. So go ahead and add up your total score, and then to get the average, you're going to divide it by 10, and that gives you your average. And then below that, I had 2 specific goals that I have for our next seminar. So when we're done with a seminar, I have you guys write these goals, okay? And then before the next day's seminar, I have them look at the goals so they know what they're going to try and do this time. And then the last box on that page says, after the discussion, what would you like to have said in the discussion, but maybe you didn't get a chance to? Either we ran out of time or it was really hard for you to get a word in. This is a place right here where you're going to be able to write your opinion and make sure that your opinion is known, okay? Why? Because Socratic seminar eventually will be a summative assessment. So we're going to be working through Amplify, and at the very end of our unit, we have an opportunity to have a Socratic seminar. And because it's summative, if you are one of those people that just could not get a word in, I want to make sure that you get your points that you can have by putting down your opinions there, okay? And that's pretty much it. So if you are going to be here on Wednesday, here's your homework. You need to read and annotate the next article. It's called Handwriting versus Typing, How to Choose the Best Method to Take Notes. And so my opening question is going to be, like I said, just an open-ended question, not right or wrong. And so as you're reading this, be thinking about what other questions could you ask? What things do you want to talk about in this Socratic seminar? Okay? And then we're going to do another one tomorrow. We're going to do a Socratic seminar every single day this week. You're going to have a new article to read and annotate. So that's where we're at right now. Okay? So hope to see you tomorrow. Let me know if you have any questions.